All right, the government shutdown and the impacts. So, you have a government shutdown. You have people who work for the government who aren't getting paid, who are being forced. Now, this is a word that they're using, but they don't seem to give out the proper context. So, first of all, this is supposed to be a free country, a democracy, and we don't have slavery, and slavery was banned. You cannot force people to work legally or otherwise. That just is not a way a free country operates. You cannot freely force by legal means people to work. So, that's one correction I'm going to put. Another is that this and they keep calling it a partial government shutdown. And so any sort of shutdown where you are abdicating your responsibility and obligation to look out for the well-being of the people who are the country, therefore the government, you are, in fact, committing a crime. Your obligation and your responsibility are to the people, not to corporations, not to people with money, not to politicians, and not to anything else but the people. And so to do this and then put the onus on to the people to somehow figure out a way when they cannot afford to lose pay, to somehow figure out a way to keep their to pay their rent, to buy their food and all that everything else that's essential, and people will lose their homes. People will lose their ability to pay rent. People will get surcharges. They will get they will have to take out loans and find other ways. And this will cause a problem for them in the long term. That is a crime. And the people that own these rental properties, the people that own the financial institutions, who say who have no obligation and no responsibility to understand the situation and say, well, tough shit, we want our money, and so on and so forth. That is how a loan shark operates in organized crime. A loan shark says, hey, you owe me money, so you will pay it, and if you don't pay it, we're going to give you I'm going to massively raise it on you, or I'm going to start doing things to you. That's a loan shark. The other one is the protection racket, where they say, we're going to offer you protection. You pay us this amount of money every month, and if you don't pay it, then tough shit, you're going to pay it whether you like it or not. That is exactly what this partial government shutdown and the ramifications will take place. Understand that whether it's loan sharking or a protection racket, you still lose. And you lose and lose and lose. And there's no ramifications for them. Unless, of course, unlike with the government, you can. It's possible that you can get some through the legal system, some recompense through the legal system with organized crime. This is not the case with the government, and we are supposed to hold our elected officials and our officials accountable. And understand something. It is a privilege. It is a privilege of the people that own the rental property, or the companies that own the rental properties, and the companies that own the financial companies, as a privileged group who are still part of the citizenry to understand these situations and work with the people that they have formed a contract with. And for them to ignore the obvious, and act like the organized criminals they are, that means that they are, in fact, then being part and parcel with the criminal actions being taken. That they are, in fact, abdicating their citizenry. They are abdicating their responsibility and obligation to the community. That they are, in fact, being selfish, self-serving, ruthless criminals. That is what it amounts to. Now you can say, well, they have to consider their taxes. They have to consider their what they have to pay for the property, what they have to pay for this, and what they have to. No. What they can do is come together and say, hey, we understand the situation. You cannot do this shutdown. You cannot put the responsibility and the burden on us and our customers or our renters. You cannot do this. But that's not what they're gonna do. That's not what's happening, and the situation is going to deteriorate, and people are gonna lose their homes. People are not gonna be able to eat. People are not gonna be able to pay their utilities. So the utility companies will are doing the same thing. People will not be able to go, even if they have insurance, go see their doctors, go to the hospitals. People are going to face other issues. So, and these are all going to compound. They're going to compound to the point where people, we already have a homeless issue. It's going to happen. It's going to increase the homeless issue. It's going to increase bank accounts that are going to get wiped out. And so we have all these issues. And back pay isn't going to cover all those issues. So, knowing and understanding this is imperative. And as a community, as American citizens, we should all be outraged. We should all demand to cover everything retroactively. And we should all be going and saying, hey, cut the shit out, get your asses back to work, and do as you're supposed to do. And when I say your asses back to work, I'm talking about the politicians who are doing this. It's a criminal act because you are, in fact, bringing great harm to the country, i.e. the citizens who are the country. So we need to get up in arms about this. We need to go out there and we need to make sure they understand. And we need to say, No, we don't want it done. We don't want it done months from now, or days from now, or weeks from now. We want it done now. You will do it because you are responsible to us. And we will not allow you to continue to do this because you are, in fact, acting treasonous against us, the country. Excuse me. So, please, as a citizen, as a community, please move. Please push. Please force these criminals to do what they should have been doing always. It is an abdication of responsibility, of obligation to the country that we face so many troubles in our lives because of this, because of policies that have been put in place that are not equal, that favor a small, extremely small minority. It is the perversion. It is the inaction. It is all of that which contributes to everything that we face. We need people who are when they get hired to become employees of us, to represent us, who are sane, rational, moral, ethical humans, to represent us. And when they do things so that the EPA can't be staffed with proper people, including most prominently people that are sit at the top levels, and poisoning of our water, our lands, and they're handcuffed without being able to do things that will truly make a difference, such as actually being able to being held responsible and not just be slapped with a fine when they should be brought to court and sent to jail, and the offenders, the companies that they own should be, and that includes the shareholders, should be should have that company or corporation taken, broken apart, and given to actual citizens who actually do right by the people, because they are given privilege by us to operate within the country. So whether whether they're international companies or domestic companies, to do against the citizens of the country that does not look out for the well-being, does not include themselves as part of the community, which they are trying to make money off of, thereby they are acting in a criminal way. So, this is that it comes down to the very focus of the issue. There is a social what is it? There is a social market or business that can take place where you can produce something and build a business and make money without impacting in a harmful way across multiple arenas that affects the social public in a negative fashion, there is a way to do it without bringing upon the negative impacts. And that means we need people who will actually be responsible, who will actually be rational, who will understand that making money at all costs is a harmful, it is an evil, it is a crime against humanity, and thereby against the very ecosystem that they also must rely on, because that breaks common natural laws. It brings into the realm of insanity. And insanity is something we cannot tolerate. That is intolerable. Insanity is intolerable when it breaks common natural law. Thank you.